Hello and welcome to 97 Octane Hockey. I'm Mike Dursa along with my co-hosts Chad Graham and Bob Schmidt. And today we have a very special guest joining us from Sports 1440, the new sports radio station in the Capital Region. He is the co-host of Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas, a show that covers everything you need to know about fantasy hockey and football and maybe some NBA talk coming soon. He is also a part of the Jason Gregor show. He is none other than Connor Hallie, a born and raised Edmontonian who has been working in the sports industry since he was 19 years old. Con man, welcome to 97 Octane Hockey.
Guys, thanks for having me. That was a good rundown there. Thank you for doing this. And it's been a good couple of weeks here on 1440, looking to keep it going and glad to be here tonight.
I gotta start by saying, try to sing Inglewood, Inglewood, Inglewood. It's always up to no good. But seriously, why did we move the Chargers from sunny San Diego? It's always sunny in San Diego to Inglewood, California, and why the Chargers for you?
For me, it's Doug Flutie. That's why I became a Chargers fan. When he went down to Buffalo, I actually became a Bills fan for a couple of years. And then he went to San Diego, and I followed him there. And that was when they drafted LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees. They had Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison. Just kind of fell in love with the team. My grandma at the time lived in Palm Springs half the year, so we'd go down there and try to make it out to a Chargers game. And it just kind of stuck from there. It kind of became a bit of an obsession, and it's been a long, painful road, but happy to be cheering them on still. And then, I mean, if you look at the net worth of the Chargers in the last 3 years or 45 years, whatever it is, since they moved, I think it's gone up like $2 billion. So it makes sense financially. Dean Spanos, don't love the guy as an owner, but kind of stuck with him now.
It's kind of funny because you're taking your fandom along with wherever Doug Flutie went. And when I was in grade 11, I lived in Provincetown, Massachusetts, about an hour and a half from Foxborough. So I became a Patriots fan, and then Brady went to the Patriots just shortly after that. And then I kind of followed him to Tampa Bay. And so I did sort of the same thing as you, so I can't laugh at you too hard for fanboying like Flutie wherever he went.
Well, I'll say this. So when he was playing in Buffalo and then Rob Johnson took over for him, I think Flutie had a really good year, got the Bills to the playoffs. Rob Johnson took over. They lost in the first round, and then Flutie left. The first game I ever went to actually was a Chargers-Raiders game. Flutie was long gone, but Rob Johnson actually got into the game for the Raiders, and when he got sacked, nobody cheered louder than I did. I had a unreasonable amount of hatred for Rob Johnson at a young age. And you got to stay loyal to certain players, right? And some of them, they get you into the game. Yeah, I see no problem with it. But I didn't follow Flutie to the Patriots. I couldn't do that.
So I'll bring you around.
Was he the next guy after Kelly, or was there something in between there yet?
Ooh, that's a good question.
In Buffalo, yeah.
There must have been a couple guys in between. I'm not too sure though, but
maybe.
Yeah, Flutie. I was still kind of young, and the only reason I followed Flutie is because he was really good in the CFL, and I can still remember him. I think he won the Grey Cup with the Argonauts, and they beat the Stampeders. I want to see. I think they beat the Eskimos at the time too. I don't know exactly. It's going back a long time. I was like 6 or 7 years old, but and he was a hell of a talent to the CFL. So just got loyal to him. Bought some Flutie Flakes. I still have them unopened. Got a couple Flutie jerseys still for the Chargers. So yeah, big fan of Doug Flutie.
Well, I had some Michael Jordan
NFL fan.
Wheaties boxes in my day too, but I ate them. Go ahead, Bobby. Oh,
I became an NFL fan the same way. I'm dating Mo. I followed Warren Moon, basketball fan, and then when Warren Moon jumped ship to go to the Houston Oilers, I became my introduction to the NFL. So I was a Houston Oilers fan with Hoopy Titans, and I'm still a Titans fan to this.
I wouldn't say I was ever a Houston Oilers fan, but I was always a fan of Warren Moon's arm.
Man, you didn't follow Warren Moon to all the teams he went to, hey? Minnesota, Seattle. I think there's a few more.
Yeah, Vikings. Vikings in Seattle. Yeah, but nope. I was once you fall in love with the team, you stick with it. It's like I'm the biggest Gretzky fan there is. I'm the biggest Gretzky fan, but I could never too firmly with the Kings. So,
We are losing him. Yeah. Oh, it just dropped him anyway. I didn't have to do anything. Oh,
Yeah.
That was my favorite Bob segment ever.
Bobby from a cave in Afghanistan.
I feel like that's how Bob should sound every time.
Oh man. So should we trade Nuge after he couldn't do anything on the power play last night in preseason?
Oh Jesus! I'm actually. I'm not. If I see him disconnected, I apologize. I'm in a heated conversation with an idiot armchair GM that thinks Campbell sucks, and I'm having a good time.
Yeah, Chad's on the Jack Campbell redemption tour. He thinks he's going to have a bounce back season and be an integral part of a long Stanley Cup run here. Do you think it's weird that, today it's announced that Andrei Vasilevsky went under the knife to have back surgery and not like immediately after the Bolts got bounced in the playoffs? Like, is this kind of a weird trend that's going on now?
Does kind of seem weird, doesn't it? You'd think that you'd want to get on top of that as soon as possible, especially if it's going to be a 2-month period. Right at the end of the season, they could have taken care of that. So I wonder if there's more to this. Was he trying to rehab through it in the offseason and they got to the point where just couldn't go down? But yeah, the timing sucks for Tampa. I don't have the standings in front of me, but it was a closer race in that Eastern Conference for them to get into the playoffs. So to not have him, arguably their best player, for 2 months, that's tough. I think that's going to be a real detriment to the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. See if they can compensate with their offense and some good team defense. But yeah, that's a big loss.
Yeah, or some big transaction comes up. Did you see the Mark Stone getting run from the King last night and his reaction to all that? And if he did, what'd you think?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, Mark Stone, he does that. He throws those kind of cheap shots around, and he got his medicine. He wasn't paying attention. He had his head down, and he got caught. And rather than just admit it, he goes on the defensive and it starts attacking this guy who, never going to see him again. If I'm the Kings, he's in my lineup in the regular season. As soon as you see Vegas, go get in there, rattle his cage because he hates you. And yeah, I couldn't believe that. I thought Mark Stone, come on, man, you gotta take it on yourself there. Say, yeah, he got me. If I see him in the regular season, I'll try to get him back. But he got me on that one. Own it, because you just come off looking like a baby.
He might have actually helped the young man get a job.
Yeah, if that's the reaction you're going to get out of someone, a longtime vet in the NHL, a captain, maybe that kid's got something. It worked pretty well. Caught him pretty clean.
Yeah. No, it's almost like too, I started thinking about it. Does he want to become take Matthew Tkachuk's place as the Western Conference villain now?
He might. The way this whole thing went down, especially for him, the timing of his back miraculously healing game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't know if he was vilified for that one, but I hate that stuff. I think the NHL should be getting on top of that, whether it's implementing a cap for the playoffs or saying, you have to have, be under the cap and have your roster by game 80, something like that, whatever they could do. But I hate when teams pull that stuff. It's so predictable. We knew he was going to be back, and ready to go. And I mean, he hit the ground running. He looked fine when he got into that first series. Was it against Winnipeg? Like he looked great. So yeah, and let him become the villain. It's good for hockey if we have one.
Yeah. I think he actually helped them beat us too, because we got a little bit involved in trying to take it to him. And we forgot about guys like Jonathan Marchessault, and he sort of torched us. And yeah, anyways.
And we forgot that we had Jack Campbell.
Yeah, Chad's on the train that Jack probably deserved to start start in the playoffs after Stu was pulled in a third of the games. So
Chad, were you comfortable with Campbell in there? Like he got the job done, but I swear I was on edge when he was out there, like the kind of some rebound control, flopping all over the place. Got the job done, but were you confident in him in the playoffs when he jumped in there?
I saw him play like Rolison did when he played. I saw Jack fight for every puck. I saw him never quit, and I saw him let one goal in 6 periods. I saw great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue that the job was effective. That's for sure. Dwayne Rolison, I like that. I like that reference too.
Yeah, that's literally how he looked to me. He looked just like Roley. That's how Roley played. He was a fighter. He fought. It didn't have to be pretty. It had to be out of the net.
Mm-hmm. I love the stuff Roley would do. Helmet's a little loose, shake it off, make sure you get that whistle, little things like that. It was terrific. He was a gamer.
So
you knew when Roley was on when he was batting the puck down the ice.
Yeah,
exactly.
Against Detroit, picking it up, just
down the ice it goes.
Is it true, Connor, that you played a little bit of soccer with Ryan Smith, some of the Oilers, and Doug Flutie?
Soccer?
Yeah.
No, I don't recall this one.
Oh, okay. The internet lied to me.
No. Where did you see that one?
Oh man, I was trying to research you, and it talks about he played soccer and football. Okay, it's not all connected. It's not all connected. And watch Ryan Smith with the Oilers and Doug Flutie with the Chargers. Okay,
that's where it all started.
I got that mixed up.
How do I not remember?
I read all that crap too, but I'm just going to ask you, Connor, give us your backstory, brother. Open it up and tell us all about you.
Geez, like Mike said, born and raised in Edmonton from a young age, hockey fan, obviously for the Oilers. I remember as a kid I think they were on CFRN, and I'd try to win tickets all the time. Never would. Really got introduced to the team further when my older cousin actually got a job with the team. And I can remember waking up on a cold winter's day, and my mom would be like, "Oh, Sean called. We got tickets to the game tonight." So I got a chance to go to quite a few games way back in the day. My whole family, huge hockey fans. My dad made sure to take me to a Oilers Kings game so I could see Gretzky live at least once in my life. We were in the very top out at, I don't even know what it was at the time, probably just the Coliseum. So sports for me was it throughout my entire life. Played a lot of sports growing up. Got into high school football, played some soccer, never with Gretzky or, Smith or anything like that. Not with Doug Flutie or anything, but yeah, kind of suffered with those Oilers teams of the mid 2000s. Jason Arnott was my favorite player growing up. I don't have it here with me, but when I was doing the Oilers Nation After Dark, I actually had my number 7 Halley jersey, and that was because of Jason Arnott. Huge fan of him, Wayne Gretzky, Doug Waite, all those guys. And eventually kind of realized I wasn't going to be getting into playing sports professionally. So that's when I made that decision to head up to radio school, and 16 years in it now. I've been doing it since I was about 20, and I'm 36 now. So did all sorts of odd jobs there. My first job was working with Crush Performance on Thursday nights. It was a specialty show back on the Team 1260, and started to get into it more consistently working with Low Tide, Alan Mitchell. That we had a show, was Oilers Nation Radio actually, and we started doing that every Saturday. That became a Monday through Friday show, the Lowdown with Low Tide, and from there, I think I did that with him for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I started on the night show with Jason Strudwick, which was an absolute blast. Struddy's just one of the best guys you'll ever meet. I did a couple more years with Dean Millard, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And then I'd say the last 5-ish years, I've been on the Jason Greger shows. So it's been a whole lot of fun. I think a lot of people probably know that I was a part of the Bell Media cuts that happened in early June. I was coming up on 15 years with Bell and got the axe just before that. And yeah, now we're back on Sports 1440. That's kind of the rundown there for me.
That whole ending at 1260 was a shit show. You guys are doing a show and then all of a sudden not. And wow, that was a shock. I'm glad you guys all found your way back to the airwaves and kind of doing the YouTube thing as well. And it's probably presented some new challenges for you on the technical end of it, but seems to be kind of slayed some of those dragons that you had kind of early on and going. Some stranger on YouTube's wondering where you went to high school.
I went to Ross Shepherd, class of 2005. So it's been a long time. Grew up, on the West End there. I actually got a chance to go back there to speak to some of the students on a career day, which was a pretty cool moment for me. And the school's got a whole lot nicer than it used to be. They put in some renovations there. But yeah, I went to Shep back in the day. Coming up on 20 years, which is absolutely crazy. It flies by.
Oh, tell me, my gray hair agrees with you.
This is going to be a little bit of a different question, but you got to expand on the Dungeons and Dragons and the Gathering for somebody that knows just about nothing about it.
Dungeons and Dragons Gathering?
You're not a Dungeons and Dragons guy?
I've never played that.
What?
Where are you getting this bio from?
Oh man, yeah, maybe there's another Connor Halley.
There might be. There was actually another Connor Halley back in the day. He was a pretty good football player down in like Nashville or something. I always kind of followed his career just to see if he'd go play major college ball or anything. But no, I never got into that. I
thought I was going to impress you with some of this shit, but none of it is even you.
I mean, throw some stuff at the wall. You never know what's going to land. But no, I never got into that. I watched Stranger Things and saw them play. I think they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I thought it looks kind of cool, but never got into it myself.
Some stranger saying his sister went there too. He went to Victoria Comp, and our good friend named Cardinal is watching. He does Indigenous hockey rookie cards. I don't know if you've seen his stuff, but it's amazing. And he's saying basketball dynasty at Shep in those days. Yeah, Ross Shep had some pretty good basketball teams over the years.
Yeah, Jermaine Buckner was there before me. I think he played at played somewhere in the States. He would come back in the winter, and we just sit in the gym and watch him shoot threes and dunk. He was unbelievable. Yeah, there's some really good players. I think Coach Young's had a really good group there on the basketball program.
Is that where they run that Jasper Place tournament? Is that at Ross Shep?
No.
I'm
going to make you feel dumb here. That's a Jasper Place.
Is that a different school in the city?
Yeah. That's a Jasper Place, and then Shep's was Totem Hoop, and they did a tournament. Shep was crazy. They had they'd have a really good tournament. So was JP. I think they would bring in like teams from Australia and the States. They would go crazy with their basketball tournaments.
My dad took two teams from Little Spirit River, Alberta, to Australia back in the 80s, and then
really,
and then they would come up here, and then we took on some Aussie exchange students. Pretty cool times back in the day. So before we had you on, but it was with Strudwick, so it was all kind of the Struddy show. So it's good to have you kind of by yourself. So we can ask you some real questions and get some answers from you.
Well, it's tough going on with Struddy, because even when I worked with him, he'd ask my opinion on things, and I'd have to say, Struddy, with all due respect, who cares what I have to think? When it's you've played in the NHL, you've seen it all, way more than I do. But yeah, I will definitely let him have the the spotlight when we're on together.
You got another one, Chad?
Yeah, who's impressed by Connor Brown so far? Yeah, right. Jesus, that guy's got legs.
He's gonna help the penalty kill big time.
Yeah. I mean, if he stays healthy and if he finds that spot with McDavid, geez, look out. That's going to have an impact throughout the lineup, bumping guys down. The overall depth up front is just going to be tremendously impacted by it.
Have you been to the?
Well, right now.
Sorry, Colin.
Right now our top six is untouchable.
I was looking at that, my God, Kane, McDavid, and Brown, like just the toughness on that line is going to be phenomenal. If that swagger continues throughout, that top unit, and then Draisaitl, Hyman, Nuge, I mean, they're going to put up points. Even, the bottom six. I'm really interested to see who finishes, is it Peterson? Is it Sutter? This lineup, there's so much depth there. I mean, obviously there's going to be injuries and such, but it's good to see.
Yeah, does that McLeod line that they played game 2, does that not remind you of the Murphy line when we won in 90? Like, that kid line's going to be something if they play together.
You got to handle that one, Mike. I was 3.
Joe Murphy, Adam Graves, and who was their other?
Oh my God! Oh. That's it. I quit. I'm leaving the show.
I do remember the legend of the kid line, but
yeah, I'm missing somebody else.
I missed their impact on the cup run.
Wow.
Okay, who am I missing? Graham, fill me in.
No, I'm disappointed right now.
Well, I don't want to Google, but I will if I have to, because I need to know.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
No.
Jelena.
Marty Jelena, yeah.
I was coming in with something really good to put Durst to the mud, and you ruined it for me.
Well, Jelena wasn't an Oiler for very long. Was he here just 1 season or 2?
He was there for 3, but he won a cup on the kid line.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was a big fan of Adam Graves, but I think I got him with the Rangers.
I was a big fan of Joe Murphy too. Still am. I wish I don't know what his situation is now, but he was on hard times a little while ago. Basically homeless in Ontario. So.
Yeah, he got that solved though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all solved up.
That's good.
I'm pretty sure Theo gave him a hand with that too, just throwing it out there.
Well, I think the NHLPA actually were getting pressured to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple stories on that. He didn't want help for a while, right?
That's right.
Good. He got help.
Yeah, no, he didn't want to accept anybody's help. He was too proud. Yeah.
What do you guys think about the top pairing there of Bouchard and Nurse? Do you think that's got the legs to last a majority of a season?
I was there on the weekend and took in kind of the fan day on the Saturday and the first preseason game on Sunday. The two of them weren't a problem. Nurse looks like he's actually picked up something over the offseason where if he's behind the net, he's skating the puck to either side of the net with like little short strides really quick and kind of trying to make a quick up to somebody and get pucks out of the zone faster, which I think is probably a good idea. And Bouchard just has that poise and patience, and he'll make an extra move just to wait for somebody to get free and find them. Yeah, I think if Nurse can settle down a little bit and worry about defending in that end, they'll be okay. That's my question mark with them. But a lot of times they're out with the high flying McDavid lines. So, you get control of the puck, you get it to them and they're gone. So it's probably the easiest assignment, but I don't know, like the day on the Saturday, they did like the inter squad scrimmage and those guys went up against Leon and Nuge and Hyman. And the only guy to score that for that team was Cody Ceci on kind of a wrister that beat Jack Campbell over the pad. But I thought they did well, but I mean, that's an inter squad game, but I guess that's really probably the second or third best line in the NHL, if you think about it. So
better than what they saw yesterday.
I don't think breaking up Ekholm and Bouchard is a smart thing to do. I think they had real gel.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of wondering, if you were to put Bouchard with Nurse, does Nurse maybe take the hint? Like, okay, he's the more offensive guy here. I'll focus on the defensive end. Like, could you spin it that way and say maybe he does that? But I agree with you. I thought, we saw it. It was obvious as soon as Ekholm got here and he was with Evan Bouchard. Bouchard's game just turned around. Like he looked way more
Yeah.
comfortable having him there.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Ekholm playing with Bouchard got Bouch's deal. I mean, Bouchard had to play, but because he had Ekholm, I mean, he got to play Bouch game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Tyson Barrie getting traded helped get Bouch's deal too, getting that shine on the power play and racking up the points, and that didn't hurt.
Record-setting power plays are always a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now Barrie set the bar high, and Bouchard. I mean, playing with McDavid and Draisaitl certainly helps. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I doing the Oilers Nation After Dark show for last year. I mean, we didn't get through one show without Darnell Nurse's name being brought up. We got to the point. I think, obviously we know he has flaws in his game, but it was to the point where he could have 9 great plays and not one bad play, and that was going to become a topic on this show. So he's never going to live up to the contract. He's never going to keep everyone happy. But I mean, if he can just
it's complete bullshit. It's the reason I hate Facebook, to be honest, and social media is because these idiots that have no clue are constantly commenting on people like Nurse or Campbell or anyone. And it's like, if you actually watch Darnell, he does way more good things than bad, like by far.
Totally agree. I mean, he's a minute muncher. He can play that physical game. He can break up the cycle. Yeah, there are definitely moments where he makes mistakes, but when you play that much hockey against the other team's top lines, it's going to happen. The other team's pretty good too, so those things will happen.
Well, and mistakes are going to happen from everyone, even Connor McDavid is crying out loud. But at the end of the day, it's a team game, right? So to single out some one play that Nurse screwed up on, well, okay, where was his partner? Where was the winger? Where was the goalie? Where was, there's to throw everything on one player, including Jack, including Skinner, including like anybody. You can't do that in a team game. It's not something you can do. So if I look at Nurse's overall game, is he worth his money? Hell yeah. In the dressing room, I know he is. I know the guys respect him. I know he's a good leader. On the ice, he's a good leader. He's strong as hell. The people don't want to fight him. And he's a force. So to say that Nurse isn't worth his money is a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just always going to be the narrative with him. And, you go back to when he signed it, right? It was right after Seth Jones. I mean, if you have any, common sense and you follow the way that's going to go, knowing that he was the UFA, right? You got to pay that money. You got to keep him. This team is a lot better with him than without him, and you nailed it there. The guys love him. Like that's a massive part about it. He's a huge piece of that leadership group, and without him, maybe things don't go the way they have. Maybe McDavid and Draisaitl are more inclined to leave when they're free agents, right? You never really know, but he's huge inside that room.
He took
100%, and that's what people don't see. That's when they're blabbing and crapping on social media. They don't understand the team dynamic. They don't understand behind the scenes.
Darnell took that fight against Vegas, not for him. That was for Draisaitl. That was like to send a message, like, stop fucking around with us. We're done with this, and that that's the kind of guy he is. He'll stick up for his teammates. I think Kane's the exact same way. Evander Kane, I mean, that guy looked like he was on death row as a player in the NHL, and he comes to Edmonton, and I think the guy changed his life. I think he was kind of realizing that was kind of as Low Tide would say, last chance Texaco, and he turned it around. I mean, I think this group is primed and ready to go on a run, and they like each other, and they're tight. I mean, when Tyson Barrie got dealt to Nashville, you could tell that really devastated him. He wanted to win with these guys too, but kind of understands that's the way it goes. Name's asking us about thoughts on the Heritage Classic jersey that came out the other day. I like the jersey. I like the pants and gloves. I'm not sure I like the jersey and the pants and gloves all together as a unit, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I think it looks great. I haven't bought an Oilers jersey since I was probably like 12, and I've really thought about going and getting that one. To be honest, like I haven't got a paycheck like throughout the entirety of the summer. I've been unemployed, so it'd be tough for me to go buy one right now. But I like them that much. I might have to make the commitment. Like you said, the pants and gloves, it's risky, but I think it's going to look great out there on the ice. And they tried something like the Flames.
Yeah.
It's an okay look, but it's boring. They went with the safe route. I think it looks like kind of like a boring jersey you'd make on NHL 22. Like it's not great in my opinion. It looks good enough, but the Oilers went for it. They tried to have some history with that one, and I think it's going to look good out there on Commonwealth.
Yeah, Calgary played it safe for sure.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I wish I would have went with the 85 Oilers jersey, but whatever. I think like trying to date the Oilers back to way back when was foolish because they didn't come in the league till the 70s. So whatever. I mean, it's fine. I'm not going to say good or bad. I think it looks meh. And I wish they just would have stuck with what made us the classic to begin with.
Would you have liked the Todd Marchant era with the copper and the oil guy on the shoulder?
Nope, the 85 jersey. That's what I wanted.
85? Okay.
Yeah. I like the lighter blue and kind of good orange too. Like Chad's talking about the Gretzky era stuff. Yeah, for sure. That's nice. I really like our away jerseys now, and I think we finally have it right with kind of the blue and orange home that we run on now. It is kind of cool to revisit the whole Heritage Classic, but I don't think we'll ever touch the original with kind of the game before with the old Canadians and Gretzky era Oilers and that. Like, I don't even think
that was awesome.
Yeah, I don't even think
that was awesome.
I don't even think they're really doing that as a part of the whole thing this time, or it's not televised or something like that. Like that's changed a little bit. So to me, it's a little bit different, but I don't know.
It would have been cool though, right? Like even if you're not going to necessarily get the alumni, which you should, but what if you on the Friday night had the Golden Bears take on the Dinos or the Oil Kings take on the Hitmen, give it a kind of a test run? I think that would have been cool. Get it going, Battle of Alberta at every level. That's
what some of these ones in the States are doing. Like they make a weekend out of it, but I guess too, like they want to make sure the ice conditions are as good as they can get and whatever. But I think if you have a day in between all that stuff, you can make it work.
Did you guys go to the original?
I didn't.
No. I went. Nope. I froze, and I went with my mom and two sisters. And after 20 minutes of the real game, they were like, "We should leave." And I was so frozen, I did not argue. So the alumni game was outstanding. And then once the sun went down, it was so cold out there. We were on the metal seats, kind of low in the corner. Not ideal for it, but a heck of an experience. And and I know it's expensive to get out to, but if you can, that's going to be a memory of a lifetime.
Well, that one would have been for sure.
Yeah, I've never been that cold in my entire life.
I don't know if I'd freeze my ass off for this Heritage Classic, but I definitely would have for that one.
This one's in October though, right?
Yeah,
so it won't be as bad. That was mid-November, I want to say, like minus. I don't want to just make up a number, but it felt like it was minus 30. Like it was
so just cold. Under that. Yeah, I think it was minus 28.
Yeah, jeez.
And it might have actually got colder as it went on. So yeah, I being cold and complaining about it, I think in that, like, because Commonwealth's wide open, right? So being in there, I'll listen to you complain about it.
Yeah, people were going to the bathroom just to warm up. It was something, and I was too young to drink, so I couldn't even go that route.
How'd you warm up, Connor? A little whiskey.
Yeah.
A little whiskey.
Mom, stuck some in.
I was 12.
It was a life-saving measure. I had to do it.
Yeah. It's life or death. What do you expect?
Do you have any thoughts who the 12th forward they're going to take is going to be?
Holy crap.
Oh, kind of want to hear Chad with this one there. Sounds like there's a little confliction.
I have no idea. I am like, this is probably the best preseason I've seen us have in a long time where I'm stumped.
I think
there's so much talent right now. Much talent. Yeah, I love the boy.
I think Sutter's in the mix just because he's got the ability to win key draws for them, and that's something they need. Like last night, he wins a key draw on a 5-on-3, and stuff like that. I think does well. I think it was the first game that went into overtime. They put him out there to try to win a draw, and he lost it, and then they kind of gained control of the puck, so he quickly got off the ice and put somebody else on. But what about McDavid last night? Like,
Oh, Jesus.
is that a Woodcroft coaching strategy now? Like, not to start him right off the bat and wait till the other team's tired, and then, hey, Connor, hop over right now. Okay, see him. There he is. Get him the puck.
Yeah.
Boosh. Boom. Game over.
That was a hell of a play by Bouchard too.
Oh,
to
man.
kind of take his time with it, hit Connor in stride. I joked, like McDavid is overtime in preseason. No, we're not going more than a minute. Let's wrap this thing up and get out of here. Pretty unbelievable. But I lean Sutter for the question of the 12th forward there. I think he helps on the PK too. And gotta remember, this was his second pro game or NHL game since 2001, since he had kind of the symptoms of long COVID. So I think every game we're going to see him take steps, and probably going to be some growing pains along the way, especially if we get into the regular season and he's up there. But, the upside is big, I think, and a big body as well, veteran. I think that's where I go right now.
Name's kind of chirping me saying, Connor, we know you didn't do Magic the Gathering or D&D, but did you ever collect hockey cards?
Yeah, you know what I did, though? I kind of ruined my hockey card pool because I would collect all those McDonald's and Tim Hortons ones. So I have a bunch of those kind of mixed in there with the Upper Deck. I don't know if you guys remember on Kraft dinner boxes, they used to have like the cards on the back. So, we'd go through those looking for the Jason Arnott card so I could cut that one out. But 100%. The collection at my parents' house, I think it's pretty solid. A couple rookies, couple autographs, and yeah, definitely was a big card guy growing up. How about you guys?
What does everybody think about Milan Lucic signing a contract?
They've wanted him back in Boston for a while, so good for him.
I mean, they've lost some key pieces and brought in Milan Lucic. I think it's fitting that he goes back there, though.
I think he probably went back though, thinking that Patrice would be back for another year and losing Bergeron and gaining Lucic. I don't know how you're gonna feel about that one.
He's Krejci too, right?
He's probably gonna have to fight a lot because that's what fans are gonna want him to do there.
Oh. It's gonna go crazy the first time he drops the mitts, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically it's Goon 3 is what that's going to be.
Oh yeah. Well, he's probably licking his chops and got it circled on the calendar when Toronto comes to town so he can fight Reeves at center ice.
Ooh.
Oh shit!
I'll watch that.
Yeah.
I'll be tuning in if
George Larac will sign a contract with the Canadians and they'll have a real good time. The beast from the east.
Hit him from all corners. I love it. I love Luch. I'm glad he got a contract in Boston.
Yeah, I think he needed to go back there and shut her down. I don't know how many years the guy's got left, but he
only signed 1 year there. So
yeah, he seemed to sort of resurrect his career in Calgary. That trade was good for us and good for him.
Yeah.
Who won the trade?
We did.
A couple of years of James Neal.
I didn't have a problem with James Neal, but I think just getting out from underneath Luch, it just wasn't working here. Yeah. James Neal got a hat trick on New Year's Eve, and I was there, and I went and I threw my hat. I tried to get it on the ice, and it hit Ryan Strome, who was in the penalty box, and he politely put it on the ice for me. That's my Ryan Strome. That's my Ryan Strome song. Story.
You're one of the few people that have a Ryan Strome story, I think. Time was not spent long here.
No. Glad we got Spooner for him. That was great. I got to ask you, how do you cope with the pressure and criticism you face that comes with being a public figure in sports media in Edmonton? And are some of those challenges and opportunities that you face? How does that all go?
Man, mute button's great on Twitter. That certainly goes a long way. It's the best way to do it. The block button can give the trolls the
Upper
I
hand,
guess,
yeah.
yeah, like they beat you, so you just mute them. You never hear from them again. I've got a couple guys, a Leafs fan that really likes to come at me, and I don't know if he's watching right now, but I've muted you.
Probably not.
I haven't heard. I haven't even seen your account in like 8 months because I muted you so long ago. But no, honestly, for the most part, people are awesome. Like it's super fun, and it's so cool to interact with the people that we have in this fan base. Like how many fan bases would stand by their team as closely and as passionately as Oilers fans did through the decade of darkness? And the sports fans in this city, I feel like continue that with us on sports radio, and for the most part it's a lot of positivity. Getting a chance to actually go out and host these watch parties for the Elks, and then go out to the various Canadian brew houses for Monday Night Football. I get a chance to meet a lot of listeners, and it's super nice. It's super supportive. I will say though, I mean, I'm not on the level of Gregor or Struddy or Rashog or Speck, who have multiple trolls coming at them all the time. I don't get it too bad, but yeah, I'll just say if you ever meet someone who repetitively keeps coming after you, the mute button's your friend, and they're probably not going to say it in real life.
I don't know if I would want to really chirp Struds because he's pretty quick-witted with the comebacks. I think that would be a pretty big mistake.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. If he decides to come at you, yeah, he's probably going to get the upper hand.
We got Oilers After Dark here saying, "Cheers, fellas! Loving the 1440 products or product. Congrats, BW from Oilers After Dark."
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so much fun, and I guess I can't say too much, but like going with Fox Sports is going to be running overnight and weekends for us coming up on October 1st. So if you're an NFL fan, the coverage is going to be unbelievable on Sundays on 1440. We know that the reception in parts of the city isn't great, so download the iHeartRadio app or Radio Player Canada, and it'll be crisp. I think most people have unlimited data now, so it shouldn't cost you too much. But yeah, appreciate the support from Oilers After Dark, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun going on YouTube. That's kind of a whole new animal, though, that we kind of incorporated in there. We're on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel, and it caused us some hiccups at the beginning, but yeah, it's a cool new way to get it out there and get people content.
The only thing that seems to be a little bit of a hiccup is like when you go to commercial breaks. It's
on the YouTube.
Yeah, it's a little quirky there.
Yeah, sometimes you hear me editing audio, or sometimes you hear us talking. Yeah, it's you know what, we didn't know what to do because at first we were going to be silent. People didn't like that, and I think we have commercials running sometimes, but
yeah,
you might just hear me and Gregor talking sometimes.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's in and out, and then so you're just not sure what's going on. But other than that, I think it's for learning curve, right? I mean, I know that with this, I mean, we started using OBS Studios as a platform to kind of stream off of, and it has its upside and its downside. Now we use this Restream Studio, and life is easy at bringing people in and windows in and all that. It's all pretty much done for me. I just have to click one thing, so it's pretty simple. Speaking of that, I want to show something here. There's a little bit of something that sort of is sad that I want to get out of the way. So Kelsey Snow writes, "Sorry, I'm sad. It doesn't appear that Chris is going to be with us too much longer, and she's set up a GoFundMe, and if anybody can help them, that would be great. Going through a real rough time, and she's not the only one. Ben Stelter's dad, Mike Stelter, is down in, I believe, California getting treatment for cancer himself. And that hat was kind of made up. I think that's really cool with Ben on there and all that. So some sad stuff, I guess, to kind of talk about, I guess, for a second. But how did you get into the whole fantasy football, hockey, and I guess soon to be NBA? And for somebody like me that got a first overall draft pick in a hockey fantasy and took Connor McDavid and still would finish in the bottom of the league and bailed out, how would you get somebody like me to come back?
Mike, I just very quickly just want to say condolences to the Snow family, and watching the fight that he put up throughout the entirety of, being diagnosed with ALS. Chris was a hero. He was, they would share, he wasn't supposed to make it this long. And then, Kelsey's posting pictures of him skating or like playing with the kids. It was unbelievable. And, now I think she said that they're donating his organs. So, he's going to save more lives. So that was something. And I know they've raised a lot of money for awareness. And then for Mike Stelter, what a hero that guy is. All that he went through, the entire family, just they're rock stars. And I know he had a GoFundMe going as well, so you can search that one. We know he's going to beat it. That guy's tough. So just want to say a quick shout out to those fine folks. The fantasy show was funny because Gregor talked to me about, during the summer, he's like, hey, I kind of want you to host a show from 11 to noon. We have a bit of a gap and we're not going to go to regular programming. As great as the 1440 music was, we want to make sure we're going continually through sports. And he had listened to a lot of Sirius XM fantasy and said, like, there's a network that does fantasy sports talk all the time. We should do an hour. So Brandon Douglas and I, our morning show producer, kind of got the task to do this. And, we're both big sports fans. Fantasy football has been the biggest one for me. It's been a couple of years since I did fantasy hockey, but I'm going to be getting back into that one. And, it's been a lot of fun. We have a text line and it just goes crazy. So many people have questions. Who should they start? If you listen to me and started Jordan Love tonight, I know that first half wasn't good, but I think you finished with 2 touchdowns. So an okay night for the Green Bay Packers in the loss. But yeah, it's been really cool. What I would say is you got to listen to this show, Mike. That's what you got to do. You listen to the show, you send in your questions. We've got a lot of great people that have been on. Pete Jensen from NHL Fantasy, Nicole Berger from, I think he's NHL Fantasy and Daily Faceoff. We're going to continue that throughout the entirety of the season, try to help you out there. I will say, though, A+ pick with number 1 overall. Out of the park with McDavid.
My experience, though, was like, I probably would do the same thing, but getting a like Vasilevsky or a clutch goalie might be actually more beneficial to you than McDavid. But yeah, I would pick him.
Go Soupy!
Yeah.
Could be a late round steal there for you.
And the other thing I didn't really know about was like the way this league was set up. You need somebody that throws a lot of body checks and block shots, and those were weighted pretty heavily. So it's not like, you're making an all-star team on NHL 23.
Yeah, well, that was actually one of the first things the first couple of weeks of the show, it was all NFL, and we got into hockey, and we started hearing kind of the horror stories from some of our listeners about how there'd be a night where Ryan Reeves would be the best player in the league because he got into a fight and threw a couple hits, and that's how it goes. So yeah, I think definitely you want to watch out for the rules. Make sure you take a look at how much each category is worth and do that, because you might want to go look for Radko Gudas or something, win that hit category.
Pick up Luch. Get Luch.
Get Luch, yeah, exactly. Chipping offensively could be a steal.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you got anything else for Connor?
Chad?
No, I'm good. This was awesome. It was so fun to meet you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I see a stranger asking about the post-game stream. I won't be doing it. I know who is going to be doing it, and it's going to be in really good hands. I'll say that. I don't want to release who's going to be doing it. That's for ON to decide. But yeah, it's going to be in good hands. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
I'm working a normal job for the first time in my life. It's unbelievable. I'm off at 6:00. I've never had that before. I don't have to work weekends. So yeah. Let some of the young bucks do that.
I gotta say, that when we had you on with Struds, I felt bad because everything kind of got deferred to Struddy, and it felt like we were almost ignoring you. And so it was good to have you kind of solo and being able to ask you questions and get your responses, because your opinion is valued and it's educated and it's informed. So you don't always have to defer to that guy.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And he was making fun of me for having some beers, calling them my yellow jackets, and and he made fun of me one time with Dashney saying I was doing the interview from the throne.
I remember that. I remember that actually. That was an interesting setup you had, and Strutty it probably wasn't Bud Light, so Strutty didn't feel the need to appreciate what you were having.
Rodeo piss, yes, Struds.
He loves his Bud Lights and China Whites. Strutty loves those.
Right. Absolutely.
China Whites. Yeah, we had Noodles like a few weeks back, and I know that Strutty did a roast of Noodles, so I was going to ask him to roast Strutty back just where he couldn't defend himself on our show, but kind of got carried away and asked him a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Noodles is a great guest too.
Yeah, he's awesome. The roast of Strutty. Noodles was there for that. He was very funny.
Yeah. Oh, Noodles was there for the roast of Strutty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
that was a long time ago now.
They flipped the script then.
Yeah. I feel like that's it. Once you actually attend a roast, when you're roasting people, eventually they're gonna get their turn on you. So you got to be careful.
All right. Well, that's, I guess, all the time we've got for tonight. And I want to thank our special guest, Connor Howley from Sports 1440, for joining us and sharing his insights and opinions on the Oilers and NFL and fantasy football and hockey. Connor, it was a pleasure to have you on our show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Remember, keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers go. Now it's time for that wonderful cool down music that everybody loves. Good night.